window trends are not going anywhere. Everybody wants to keep their curtains. Nobody's gonna sleep without curtains, but windows also do have trends. So one thing that I don't know if your clients ask you or for yourself you ask is that where do I stop the height? How high do I hang the curtains? And a lot of you probably already know this, but maybe for viewers at home, try to go for me as high as you can. Try to bring that curtain all the way up. It elongates your whole living room. Everything feels higher. Everything feels more luxurious. So this is for me something that you find people who, of course, are like, I see some of you like, yeah, we knew that. Like, we know it has to go all the way up. But a lot of people don't, where they're breaking their height. They're hanging it like right above the window, and then there's this gap above it, and it kind of makes the whole room feel less luxurious, right? You did. So this is something that it gives that more luxury feel. It feels like more fabric, more drapery, and especially for me with sheers. For sheer, I love sheers. I would put sheers before I put blackouts. I'd rather have a Roman blind and hang sheers over that, so I can put the Roman blind all the way up, bring in as much light as possible, and have the Roman blind a blackout. So that way I'm not covering the window and the light. Like, keep that light flowing, keep the light nice and bright. When you have if you had, let's say, a wall that stopped here, great. Then I do my blackout hanging. It's not covering window, it's covering a wall, right? If sometimes a lot of the newer houses now have window from like 5 centimeters from one wall to 5 centimeters from another wall, I don't want to block that light with a blackout. I don't want to have half a meter of blackout covering window that should be allowing all that natural light in. So in that case, I put in blinds, I put in Roman blinds that go up as high as they can. It gives that little bit of a nice border at the top to bring that coziness. And then I just hang sheers. And the sheers, bringing them up all the way to the very top, gives such a nice feeling, especially when you open a window. It's like breezing. Another great way to use curtains that I did in a recent project is, instead of having cabinets, closets, especially for walk-in closets, is having a curtain in front of it. It could be a thicker sheer. So instead of having a heavy drapery, it could be a thicker sheer that you're playing with. I'm trying to think of one that I have there over there, where you're kind of concealing, because everyone's like, I want open walk-in closets. Like, yeah, it looks really nice if all your clothes are white or all your clothes are gray, okay? In reality, look at what everyone's wearing here today. Imagine all of these different colors hanging in your closet. Your closet looks super messy, right? Unless you're OCD and do color coordination. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for an open closet either. I'm like, give me the doors, let's close it. But a lot of clients want that open feeling. Then once they have it and they move into their house, they're like, it feels very messy. It feels like I can't breathe. It looks it. So an option is, instead of adding doors and bringing carpenters back into their house and all the, extra expense of having that, is having a thick sheer. Gives this really luxurious, soft feeling to a walk-in closet or a bedroom. It's adding that kind of fabric. It's very feminine. It's a very feminine way to introduce more storage. Or if they have a huge built-in already and they need more storage, why have wood cabinets? It's not a kitchen. So this gives this really soft way of adding fabric in an unconventional way and not your regular way. And then stripes, like we discussed with Nikki over there, stripes in fabric is also making a big trend. So a big trend, everybody is used to sheers being plain, maybe a little pattern, but stripes and sheers is becoming a big trend for 2023, and you can do it either in length, in Roman blind, and it creates that little bit of extra drama and a little bit of less subtle. You're making a bit more of a statement in that way, and it could be color on color, so white on white, or you add it in a way where it has color.
Just go back before you go on to the image up top.
Yeah.
So next to a window,
Yeah.
I have the similar scenario in my home.
Okay.
Windows, and then I have a space that I actually want to use as a wardrobe now.
Mm-hmm.
how would that work? Wouldn't that be too much curtain going around? Like, how would you do that?
Yeah, it depends on how you'd be doing it. So either in this case, I would maybe do a Roman blind on this window. This is not like a floor length, but if it's not floor length, like going all the way down, I would say I would probably put a Roman blind here so that you have a different vibe happening, right? So I would do a Roman blind and then a full length curtain. You say, no, this is like full length. It's like from floor to ceiling window. Then maybe continue the same fabric or maybe make it look like it's one. So it almost looks like your window is continuing and it kind of wraps around. And when you open them, they kind of all open into the corner. And then when you close it, kind of, when there's too many panels of curtains happening, like this is another issue that I see in a lot of houses, it's like a column, window, column, window. Like, how many times are you gonna, have the space and have the window open? I have a client at the moment who said that to me. She's like, I don't want all these columns of curtain. So I was like, okay, that's fine. We can stretch it out, right? So instead of curtains opening two ways, curtains can open one way. So then you just have one. So it's a much longer linear length of a one curtain, but it opens all the way to, let's say, the corner, so that in the middle you don't have these panels of curtains happening. Another big trend is blending in your curtains. Sorry. Is blending in your curtains. So over here we did a little bit of an example of what's going on here. Is that, okay, maybe dark blue, maybe not in your conventional home here in Dubai, but to blend in your paint color with your curtain. So if you're just like, I'm over the white, not doing the white, I love the dark blue room, I love the Viva Magenta room. You want to kind of incorporate and like engulf this room in this one color. It's such a nice trend. Instead of doing like a dark blue wall and then adding white curtain or adding beige curtains, it looks so cool when it's the same color. It's such a nice trend, and it's something that I feel like was a trend a few years ago, and it's coming back now. It works for me very well with dark blue, but you could do it with like a gray, a taupe, where this color continues. It gives this very luxurious vibe, although it's something you wouldn't naturally think of. It's not your first thought, like dark blue walls, dark blue curtain. Your client's gonna be like, sorry, what? No, like, but it works really well together. And then you can kind of bring in a different color, but like the pillow that you have has a little hint of green in it. It has a little hint of gold in it. So that's where you're bringing in the little bit of extra, the little bit of a pop, and without, going overboard. So you're not going multicolor, it's very subtle way. Now we can do next. Thank you. So another big year this year is Dubai has announced 2023 is the year of sustainability, which of course is a trend that we've been seeing over the years in general. The world is trying to be more sustainable, but Dubai is like, this is the year. This is the year that we are going to be more sustainable. And it's something that I discovered, we were talking about trends, and Sidar gave me this whole like crash course on how they have technology at Sidar that is super sustainable. They actually have curtains that detect the sunlight coming in and they close on their own. That's saving you on your AC bill, that's saving you on over light exposure, whatever it is. So even if you're not home, you don't want to walk in, like all the houses now are building more and more glass. And I'm like, yeah, but what I don't want like a window filter on the glass. They have those filters on the glass, like a wrap that stops the UV, that stops the heat, but you get this bluish, darkish light. So this is such a great way to keep the natural light in the window. You're not adding a filter to the glass, you're adding it in blinds, you're adding it in curtains. So the technology that they have is called Somfy. It's a brand, it's a very well-known brand around the world. I'm gonna ask Ahmed to join me a little bit because he like crash coursed me on this. Like, this is amazing.
So just in addition to what Tanya was saying, the technology detects also wind sensors. So if you have the awnings, let's say if you want to protect your car, especially in the summer, and for some reason the wind started to increase, then it will automatically detect that, so it will withdraw the awning. There's also, like Tanya said, the sun sensors. So those detect if there is a high heat coming in, then it automatically closes the shears with the blind. This protects your furniture, it plants, if you have any pets, even children, if they're so this sort of brings the technology together, and there's also voice command as well. So this is
Next level.
Exactly next level with Alexa or Siri, and you know the voice control automation. There's security cameras as well. This is part of the smart home thing. It's not related to curtains, but some other things that we offer as well. There's security cameras, there's smart locks, smart bulbs as well. You may see some of them around here. They all bring together the smart home automation part of it. And all of this is ultimately leading to a more sustainable way of living. So it'll not only reduce your costs, but it'll also reduce the energy that your home consumes, and this will also reduce your cost.
It reduces your DWO bill. So at the end of the day, that is more sustainable for everyone.
Trying to get to.
Yeah, so it's something that is not something I even knew existed. You know, I was like, what do you mean? He was like, yeah, you know, so for any of you who don't know what an awning is, it's like an outdoor, like a canopy that comes out, you know, that you can sit under, whether it's for your car, whether it's you sitting in the garden. It's like a giant umbrella. So if the wind picks up or there's like a sandstorm or anything that's coming, it's dangerous to have it out, right? Because the wind starts hitting it, if the wind is too strong, it breaks. So this having the sensor where you might have it out all the time. Like in my mother's house, she has it out all the time. Like she's like, it looks cozy, it looks nice, and it like blocks the light a little bit.
Exactly.
It prevents the heat a lot. But then when she's not home and she travels and everything, you know, it's like raining, winds pick up, this picks up. With this technology, it just pulls it back in. You're not breaking it. The lifespan of their awning. Awnings are not an inexpensive item to have at home. It's an investment that you're putting in. So you want to make
outdoors?
sure for outdoors.
For outdoors.
You do it for outdoors?
They
Yes.
do it for outdoors as well.
Okay. How do I spell that?
AWNINGS. There's also
NG.
multiple types. Yeah.
And the technology for the sensors, the
Something.
curtains, how do I
So-
spell that?
SOMFY.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was like, I'm gonna let him spell it.
Okay. Yeah. So this is it's all part of the smart home window controls and sustainability and smart home solutions.
Yeah, for me, I think the curtains that close automatically with heat or sun exposure to a certain degree, for me, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
All the new developments you see in Dubai, huge glass panels, huge. I'm like there, I'm like, oh my God, imagine in summer. It's like a
You're
greenhouse.
walking into a sauna. Yeah.
You know, you're walking into a sauna. I don't want to tell my client, oh, you should add a filter, you should add this, you should add that. So like, this is something I only learned that Sidar has a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now waiting for the project. I'm like, let's see, I
Bring
want to like
summer
test
on.
this. I want to like put it to work, you know? So this is definitely a great way to be sustainable. It's also something that, as you said, you know, having it with Alexa, having it with the Siri and all of those technologies, is that it's also sustainable in that way. You know, that
There's also timers that you can set.
exactly.
So let's say if you know exactly when the sun rises, when the sun sets, or when you're going to be away, you can set, okay, I want a little bit of sun for my plants, for example, or for my house in general. And then after that, your house can be completely dark until you come home, and you know when you're going to come home. So by the time you come home, the windows are up, the blinds are up. So it really works around your routine, your family routine.
Yeah, you don't want to come home and like your house is dark.
Exactly.
You know, like all the blinds are down. You're like, oh, I'm home, and it's like still sunlight. It's like
Yeah.
darked off. You know, so
So
it's
it
really-
helps kind of pick up on that as well.
yeah. If I'm not mistaken, that is our last slide.
So
Is it? I think so. So are there any questions you have? So these are generally the trends that I've, you know, every time we look at trends for every single year, you go to websites and there's like 20 trends. I'm like, how's that a trend? You know, like that's not a trend, that's just like life, right? So we kind of went through it, you know, the Sidar team and I went through it, like which trends do we feel are actually trends you would incorporate, trends you would actually use. So are there trends that you've heard of that we didn't cover today that you think are interesting? Or are there trends here? I would love to know, like, I love this trend, I would not do that trend. You know, that's like another thing. Like, which one would you not do? Are any of you like, there's no way I'm incorporating Viva Magenta into my home?
Are we allowed to say
Never. So this is interesting for me. Yeah.
Unless a client asks for it, I would never
No.
suggest.
So you wouldn't propose it? you would have proposed.
It's not me.
But that's what I love. I'm like, that's why every house is different. You
It's
know?
big in the events world at the moment.
Is
so
it?
We're seeing a lot of it in weddings.
Okay.
The colour.
Oh, that's
In
interesting.
interiors, I'm not too sure, but I might bring it with flowers.
Yeah.
Just actual candles.
Yeah.
I've actually got that colour against my blue walls.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know it sounds really weird.
No, that
but
sounds
it's
really
against- Yeah, it's really nice.
So
So just pops of like small home decor.
small home decor. Yeah, because you can change that out.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a great example of, you know, you can do, Sidar does custom cushions. So that's like this one is custom made by them. Obviously, we weren't able to find something like this that says Pantone. And then they also have the custom cushions. Oops. That they have everything. You could put anything on it. So
Yeah,
whether-
fully customizable
Fully,
crystals, Swarovski.
from the fabric to
Even
the color.
printed as well. So if you want
And printed, yeah.
this was also printed. So even the size is customizable and the prints as well, and the Swarovski, even the embroidery as well. We had some that we talked about. Fully embroidery as well on the pillows and the
I have a
this is-
question
And
for
wallpaper.
you. Traditionally in this region, what we say bold
yes.
gold
Yes.
prints.
They love that. Yeah.
Right, but have you actually seen more of an interest in the Middle Eastern community for softer tones? and
Modernizing
brighter
a little?
colours? Is it becoming more prominent?
Yes, definitely. So
Yeah.
in the past, a lot of people thought that the general taste looks a little bit like that, but a bit more
Yeah.
gold, a bit more the wooden elements on top.
Yeah.
But now we've seen a drastic change. I would say maybe over the last 10 years or so,
Yeah.
that people are approaching things that are a lot more simple, a lot calmer,
Yeah.
and then
Less heavy.
focusing on the soft furnishings to sort of bring things, if they want like stronger colors versus having a strong element, like a curtain in your home. It's very strong.
It's very heavy. Yeah, it's heavy.
very
Yeah.
You know, I think that in Europe, you know, you look at, you know, you go to Versailles or you go to the palaces, and you see this heavy drapery and it looks rich and it looks royal and it looks
Yeah.
extravagant. And I think that's something they were like, oh, that would look amazing in our
In the
houses in this
home.
region.
Yeah.
But we don't have the same
It
temperatures.
kind
Yeah.
of suits that.
It kind of suits that,
That
you know?
way.
So I think that, yes, of course, it was a huge trend, I want to say, for as long as Sidar has been around, you know, to have that.
And it's still
heaviness
quite
and
common.
it-
There's still a lot of
It's
places.
still a lot of people
that, I
who
mean, in
love
our
it.
family home,
Yeah.
previous
Yeah.
home, that's all we had. Like we had everything.
It's almost like
it's
it's
not a
just a-
generation.
It's a
It's
generation.
a
The new
generation.
generation are looking for lighter colors,
Yeah.
Yes.
lighter fabrics,
Yeah.
less textures,
Yeah.
Even wallpaper,
Yeah,
Simple
softer
but better.
tones, simpler.
exactly.
So
Sometimes the events
Yeah.
Yeah.
The events in your life change. Yeah, that's a great example.
We
Yeah.
want this is the country.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
You know, that's such a great example. Like the events in your life change.
It's changed.
You had, you know, previously you didn't have children, now you do have children. That's a big lifestyle change, right? Everyone's like, how do you have white sofas in your house and you have children? I'm like, they're removable cushions, removable, you know, unzipped. But there's a lot of things, you know, little bit more of a, I'm not going to, you know, obviously mention her name or anything, but I have a friend who's going through a separation and her home as a married couple was heavier, darker woods, more grays, you know, things like that. And now that she's moving alone into her own home with her daughter, she's like, I want everything white, gold, pink. I want the extreme opposite of what the house was, like a fresh start for her, right? So I think that's such a relevant point. It depends on what phase you're going through.
Especially okay,
Yeah.
we need
For sure.
that we change this.
We definitely,
You need to refresh your space. You need to feel like you've been stuck inside for so long. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. This is something that we've also faced from a lot of customers told us the same thing, that, you know, we're here to just refresh, or because of our folding doors, which we have, they're looking to have more privacy in certain homes, so they wanted these doors to act as dividers for people who are working from home, for people who want to break from their kids, for people who want just a bit of space dividers in their home. We more comfortable, and all this is part of Golden, unfortunately.
And I mean, a big trend, I'm sure that many of you saw it as well, a big trend in like 2020, 2021 the furniture and home interior industry boomed.
Yeah.
Like any retailer you speak to, any furniture retailer, you know, I'm sure it was the same for you. They were like, oh, one of our best years was 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
All the other industries are like, what? It was the worst year for F&B, for weddings, for everything else. But for home, you're spending so much time at home. You're like, I can't look at these curtains anymore.
I need to change.
I need something
to
new.
refresh this
I need
space.
to have a refresh.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people were like, oh, you know, we've had this dining table for 10 years. It never bothered me until we were in
I'm
quarantine.
staring at it.
And I'm staring at it and I'm like, we've had it for so long. I need something so different.
Many people change their outdoor decorations.
Exactly.
Outdoor is growing so much now, where people are like, we were inside for so long. I have that now. Like, I want to sit outside. We're going out for dinner. I want it to be outside.
Yeah.
You know, we're like that clock is ticking that the summer months are coming. Ramadan is coming. You know, Ramadan this year will have nicer weather. You know, it won't be so hot. You know, planning for your Ramadan outdoor now is not something that it was so planned outdoor in previous years. It was how are we styling inside. Now it's like how are we styling Ramadan outside. You know, so lifestyle, events, everything does change a lot in that way. Rio, you were asking something, no?
That was exactly
That
the
was
question. Have you, since COVID, have you seen
Any-
boom in your business, really,
Yes.
during COVID?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I mean, as a little way to, if anybody else has questions.
How far should your curtain rod extend past the window?
So if you have the luxury of, let's say you have the width of this column, and let's say that's your window. So if you have this space, then I say, let your curtain rail go all the way to the end of that column. So when you open your curtains, you're not blocking the window in any way. So that whole column is, let's say, homing your curtains. But if your window ends here and your wall ends here, which you're seeing a lot as well, then it gets tricky. Then you know you have choices. Is it single pleat curtains, 2 pleat, 3 pleat? You know, the more pleats you have in your curtains, the thicker that fabric is going to be. So when there's no column or no wall, like try to go for like 1 pleat, you know, because then you're just having, unless it's like your bedroom, I'd be like, okay, then go 2 pleat, you know, to get that more cozy vibe. But there's a lot of rooms that you never close the curtains. You know, maybe in your living room, you don't have a privacy issue. Your curtains are open all the time. Why do you want this thick, heavy curtain when it's open if you're never closing it? You know, one of my previous homes, I said to my husband, he's like, I don't think we need curtains because we don't have a privacy issue, we don't have a sun issue. Like, yeah, but curtains are cozy. It brings coziness. It's this extra little luxury. Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, okay, if you feel like we never need to close them, let's just put show curtains. You know, instead of having it bunched up, we're never going to close them. It was literally that wide, you know, like a very thin curtain that was easy sheer, very foldable, and I just had it like that as a show curtain. And not once did we ever say, oh, we wish we were able to close them, because
There's no need.
there was no need for it. So why take the full linear length of the window that you know you're never going to close the curtains of? Make it a show curtain, make it a show panel. You save on cost, you save on how much window you're blocking, and you save on the heaviness. You know, the heaviness in the space a lot.